Okay, so there's that plant, and if we back up, we'll see we've got a double row of tomatoes here. I don't know the exact count of tomatoes. I think I said 100 earlier, but I'll probably have to count. I think I have a lot more than 100. But anyway, you see that little bitty guy right there? Looks like something happened to him, right? Like a really, it's got its growth stunted or something. Nope, that is a sucker that I pulled off of one of these other plants and stuck it in the ground. So, yeah, you can definitely grow new plants from suckers. And they will root. They will root just fine. So just showing you. You see we've got, this one needs to be pruned back some more at the ground. I'll take care of that in a minute. But you can see the fruit production. This is going to have lots of tomatoes, and it's going to give me tomatoes all season long. You see we've got lots of fruit production. So that's this row over here. Okay. Check that out. I gotta prune this guy back later on today. This is my bitter melon. I eat these greens. They're delicious. Delicious, delicious. But we're not talking about bitter melon. I've never grown bitter melon, so I can't give any how-to, but I can show you how pretty it looks. All right. So moving on. All right. So we've got another row, another double row of tomatoes here. And you can see I have been steadily pruning. I see more leaves. Every time I look at these guys, I see something else I have to do. But you see how big those bottom stems are. And you see we've already got some, isn't that cute? This, I believe, is a Henderson pink, is what I believe. I have to go look at my map. But yeah, so we've got fruit there. We've got fruit there. And we've got fruit up here, and it's just steadily growing. These are about 3 foot tall. The other thing that I do, until my tomato plants get about 2 foot tall, I pick the blooms off of them. I don't let them bloom. You know, I make them concentrate on their stems and fruit production. So, okay, here's another example of planting suckers. That was a sucker. That's only been in the ground for about a week. Remember I said they're going to look really, really bad? Yep, they look terrible after you plant them. They will actually die back. But it'll come back. It'll come back and it will just continue to climb. So I have been planting my suckers. I heard last year somebody said on Facebook or something that that's how the Amish extend their season. Well, when I have plants die back, I have just been pulling the suckers and putting them in the ground. That's literally all I do. I pull off all the leaves and I just make a hole in the ground and I just stick it in there and just make sure that the ground stays moist. And they have been growing. That's all I'm doing. I'm not doing anything additional, y'all. Nothing. Just sticking it in the ground. Okay, so I like to do experiments in my garden. And the one thing that I'm doing is, after I hurt my back, some of these went in before I hurt my back. And they got away from me, so I'm not going to lie. And it was really hard to tell where the main stem is. And you'll see a lot of these, I've allowed it to have, you know, here's the base. I've allowed them to have 2 stems coming off. You typically only want 1 stem on here, and you don't want the leaves touching, so that will need to be pruned back. I don't have my scissors with me. I left them over on the other side. But I don't know if this is going to work, but it's an experiment. I could not tell where the main stem was. That's why it's really important to prune back when they're small. And every time you come out here, you will see something else. There's a sucker. See how easy that is to pull off when they're small? And you just see tons of fruit all the way from the bottom. Those are bigger now. Aren't they cute? So cute. This guy, I've got to restake him back up. Remember, I was out of clips. I was out of clips, and I said you could use string. There it is. You can use string. But I love the clips so much more. So go get the clips. You'll be really happy you did. Let's move on to the other side. Okay, walking up to the other side, I've got some small pepper plants here. And I've got some tomato plants. Now, you see, they're not staked up yet. These have only been in the ground about 2 weeks. But this is another good example. I have already been pruning these guys. So if you'll notice from the very, very bottoms, all of them, see, have been cut back. it's so much easier to prune and get them started right away. You can see they hardly move in the wind. That's because I'm giving them a good start. So these plants are not very tall. Come out here and I always pull and that's a sucker right there. These were left in the greenhouse after I hurt my back. I don't know if they're going to get as big as my other ones will, but I wasn't going to let them die in the greenhouse. Okay, so moving on. This is my patch of green Veronese. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. These were the very first ones to go in, and 2 days later I was laid up on the couch. So these guys got away from me too. So you'll see a lot of these have that double stem. These two on the end, that one and that one, have more. They have like quadruple stems. But you can see how big their bases are. Okay, see how big their bases are, and you can see the gorgeous, look at that gorgeous fruit. Look at that. This is supposed to be sorry about that, y'all. This is supposed to be a cherry type tomato, and these tomatoes, there's my hand again, they're actually pretty big. I would not consider that a cherry type tomato, but I guess it is, just the way they clump together and grow. But I have, all of these have got fruit all over the place. And so this one has got several sucker heads, and I'll be going through here and systematically taking them off. Like here's a really good example right here. And if you're wondering, Crystal, how do I tell a sucker from what's going to be fruit production? You have the main stem here, okay? You have the main stem, and in the main stem you'll see the leaf, okay? And then in between the main stem and the leaf is where your sucker is actually going to grow. And that's where you'll snip it off, okay? So going back up, so this is where we are. Going back up, we've got, this was a sucker too. So we've got main branch, we've got the leaf, and we've got sucker right here. In between, it's growing in the armpit of the leaf and the main stem. You see, here is a flower or a fruit, you know, a fruit stem. It grows independent of the armpit. So that's how you know sucker from fruit. Fruit will grow its own stem, so to speak. Okay, so moving on. I mean, you can see we've got, where is it at? There it is. We've got fruit all the way up. We've got fruit all the way up, and we've got more blooms up there. And as we walk through, tripping over things, we just pull the suckers off. Look, there's another big sucker there. And I could walk this area 2 times a day and still find stuff new. Still find new suckers. Oh, I really need to get my scissors. Still find new suckers. Still find things that I have to stand up. So yeah, I mean, this is all my tomatoes. I got more tomatoes on the other side of the garden, but these are the biggest ones. This is the oldest ones. And you can just see, that's why we prune. You see the big clumps in there? And as we're walking through, y'all, and we see clumps of tomatoes that are hidden behind leaves, prune those leaves back. Okay, so here we are in the center here, my mess. Okay, this guy right here, that was a sucker that I planted. This one too, a sucker that I planted. And you want to know what? Look, the sucker now has suckers. Look at that. And that is, I don't know, it's about 2 foot tall. So I'll come back and I'll clean this guy up and I'm going to stake him up. I'm thinking about moving him someplace else. You want to prune the leaves away from your fruit. You see this right here? I had a leaf right here, and now this fruit will ripen a lot faster now that it has sunlight. I came through here earlier today and I pruned back, there were some leaves over here. I pruned those back too, just a little bit, just so I can get sunshine on here. And you see the air is just flowing through. Let's go take a look at some babies. Oh, check this out. Cucumbers. We have been eating off this cucumber. Oh, we got bees, pollinators. Let's go check out the other side. Okay, back on the other side of the garden. And there's no trellis over here yet. There will be. They're about ready for it. And again, I have been coming through here and systematically pruning the bottom. I don't know if you can see that. Pruning the bottom leaves, taking suckers off. And like I said, you can come out twice a day and you'll still find something you missed earlier that day. And so there's those. And these have been out maybe 3 weeks. Okay. We've got some pepper plants, been out about the same amount of time. We've got the hay around them. And here's some more over here that need to be pruned back and trellised up. Yeah, these got to be trimmed back. If I let them go and do what they want to do, they will climb and they just go all over the ground. But for the sake of my hand touching a snake or being bit by a snake, I want them up off the ground. I really wasn't too sure if these guys would make it because they got left in the greenhouse, but it looks like everybody's doing okay. So I've got my work cut out for me again today. So I will leave you guys with this. Go out, prune your tomatoes, get those suckers off, get them up off the ground, get the bottom leaves off, get the air flowing, and don't forget to feed them. This is what I'm going to be supplementing feeding my tomato plants. It is a fish bone meal. And if you're curious if what it smells like, let me just release this cat right here. You see that? It smells like fish, y'all. It's very strong. It's, yeah. So she definitely wants it. This is what it looks like. I guess it kind of looks like cornmeal, you know, that kind of look. Let me get her away from it again. Now, when I first planted all my plants, I did use a 13-13-13 synthetic fertilizer in my garden. I know, shocking, right? I quit being an organic gardener last year. I just had too much trouble. My soil wasn't ready. It's still not ready. So anyway, I used a 13-13-13, but I only used about a quarter of what is needed. I also used chicken poop and horse poop. Lots of chicken poop and lots of horse poop. So lots of nitrogen right in the beginning, which is probably why you see a lot of greenery. I don't want to produce any more greens. Like I said, you can't eat tomato greens or stems. I want to concentrate on growing fruit. And the number you look at to grow your fruit is going to be your phosphorus. And that's that middle number. This is nitrogen, this is phosphorus. And unfortunately, y'all, I can't remember what that is right now. I'll have to look that up and link it below. But anyway, so this is a all natural. It is not an organic. I don't see organic anywhere on here. So it's not an organic, but it is a natural byproduct of the fishing industry. It is fish bone meal. You could also use just regular bone meal, but this number is going to be 15 instead of 16. So I'm going with a little bit higher number. You can use any fertilizer you want. Okay, you can use any fertilizer you want. You just want to make sure your phosphorus number is higher than your nitrogen number. Nitrogen is going to produce nice greens. This is going to produce your fruits. Also, this fish bone meal, the reason why I chose this, and I will link this below, and I picked it up on Amazon. I think it was like $13 a box. Oh, here's the guaranteed analysis right here. It's also got calcium, and calcium is awesome for tomatoes because it will help put an end to the bloom end rot, which is really super heartbreaking with tomatoes. So you've got 14%. I think it's like 24% of what you need or something like that. But anyway, I'm trying to keep the cat away from this. She just wants it. So anyway, this is what I'm going to be top dressing, and it tells you that you can use what is it? Oh, that bottom number is potassium. Haha, there. I found it. It's potassium. The first number is nitrogen, the middle number is phosphorus, and the bottom number is, the end number is potassium. But you can actually use this 2 to 4 ounces each month during the growing season to promote fruiting and flowering. I am going to, and 2 ounces equals 2 tablespoons. So I'm going to top dress everything today with 2 tablespoons. The other thing I'm going to do is really water it through, because you can see what this crazy cat is doing. I do not want the cats to go and eat my fertilizer, so I'm going to water it through. I'm going to put 2 tablespoons around the base of the plant, not touching the plant, just around the base of the plant on top of the hay, and I'm going to water it really well. So that's really it of this video. I've got my work cut out for me, as you can see, and I've got to get back to it. I hope you guys liked this video. I hope you found it informative. And please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe so you can hear more of my ramblings and go along with me on my gardening adventures. So anyway, I now have the meat birds hunting me down. They found me. They're hungry. So we'll leave you guys with that. And until we talk again, y'all have a blessed day. Bye now. No, Missy.